The year was 1776. A fledgling nation, weary of oppression, rose up to fight for its freedom. Our forefathers, brave and resolute, put their lives on the line for a radical idea that the people, not a king, should govern themselves. This hard-won victory was not a gift. It was a testament to the courage of a people willing to take up arms to secure their liberty. This truth, etched in the blood and sacrifice of patriots, is the foundation upon which America stands. The Second Amendment is not about hunting or even self-defense against criminals. It is about the very essence of American freedom. It is the embodiment of the founders' belief that the ultimate check on government overreach is a well-armed citizenry. This principle, woven into the very fabric of our nation, is under attack today. The Second Amendment is our inheritance, a safeguard against tyranny. It is a stark reminder that the power ultimately resides with the people. It is a bulwark against those who would seek to strip us of our liberties and impose their will upon us. The ink on the Declaration of Independence was barely dry when the Founding Fathers set about creating a new government. They had just fought a bloody war to free themselves from the tyranny of King George III. They were determined to ensure that such tyranny would never again take root on American soil. Their solution, the Constitution, a document designed to limit the power of the government and safeguard individual liberty. The Founding Fathers understood that power corrupts. They had seen firsthand the dangers of an unchecked government. They knew that even the most well-intentioned leaders could be seduced by the allure of power and turn against their own people. The Founding Fathers were not naive idealists. They were pragmatic realists who understood that eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. They knew that the only way to prevent the government from becoming tyrannical was to give the people the means to resist, to rebel if it became necessary. This meant ensuring that the people had the right to keep and bear arms. The Second Amendment was not an afterthought. It was a fundamental principle upon which the entire Constitution was built. The Second Amendment, enshrined in the Bill of Rights, states, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. These words, clear and unambiguous, are a testament to the founders' understanding of the importance of a well-armed citizenry. The Second Amendment recognizes that the right to keep and bear arms is not granted by the government. It is an inherent right endowed by our Creator. It is a right that pre-exists government, a right that cannot be infringed upon by any law, regulation, or executive order. The Second Amendment is a safeguard against tyranny. It is a reminder that the ultimate power rests with the people. It is a bulwark against those who would seek to strip us of our liberties and impose their will upon us. It is a cornerstone of our republic, and any attempt to weaken or abolish it is an assault on our freedom. Section 4, the right to bear arms, words of the Founding Fathers. The Founding Fathers, those who risked everything to create this nation, spoke often and eloquently about the importance of the Second Amendment. Their words, echoing through the centuries, serve as a stark reminder of the true intent of this fundamental right. Thomas Jefferson, the author of the Declaration of Independence, wrote, "No free man shall ever be debarred the use of arms." He understood that a well-armed citizenry was the ultimate safeguard against tyranny. Richard Henry Lee, a signer of the Declaration of Independence, stated, "To preserve liberty, it is essential that the whole body of the people always possess arms and be taught alike, especially when young, how to use them." George Mason, the father of the Bill of Rights, declared, "I ask, sir, what is the militia? It is the whole people except for a few public officials." These words leave no room for misinterpretation. The Founding Fathers believed that the right to bear arms belonged to all citizens, not just a select few. Joseph Story, a Supreme Court justice, wrote in 1833, "The right of the citizens to keep and bear arms has justly been considered as the palladium of the liberties of a republic." Section 5, infringement, a betrayal of freedom. For the last several decades, the Second Amendment has been attacked and weakened. Politicians, driven by fear and a lust for control, chip away at our fundamental rights. They seek to disarm law-abiding citizens, leaving them vulnerable to criminals and a tyrannical government. They preach about common-sense gun control, but their true agenda is clear: the complete disarmament of the American people. Every gun control law, no matter how well-intentioned, is an infringement upon our constitutional rights. The Founding Fathers were crystal clear on this point. They understood that any restriction on the right to bear arms is a slippery slope that inevitably leads to tyranny. Make no mistake, gun control is not about safety. It is about control. It is about stripping us of our ability to defend ourselves, our families, and our freedom. It is about making us subservient to a government that no longer fears its people. We cannot allow this to stand. Section 6, a call to action. Defending liberty. The time for complacency is over. We, the inheritors of a legacy of freedom, must stand up and fight for our rights. We must resist the siren song of those who would disarm us and leave us at the mercy of criminals and tyrants. We must channel the spirit of our forefathers who pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honor to secure our liberty. This is not just about guns. It is about freedom. It is about self-reliance. It is about the right of the individual to defend themselves against any and all threats, both foreign and domestic. It is about preserving the very essence of what it means to be an American. We must resist unconstitutional laws. We must hold police and other government agents accountable when they try and enforce unconstitutional laws. We must elect leaders who understand and will uphold the Constitution. We must educate our friends, family, and neighbors about the importance of the Second Amendment. We must never back down, never surrender, and never compromise on our fundamental rights. Do you really think that the founders would have written the Constitution as to allow the government to limit the rights of the citizens? No, they would not and didn't. They limited the power of the government. The Second Amendment does not specify the type of weapon or caliber allowed. It was written not to limit the rights of the people, but to limit the power of the government. If the government or their standing army has access to it, then so do the citizens. The Second Amendment was to protect the ability of a well-armed citizenry to overthrow a tyrannical government. Thomas Jefferson wrote in a letter to John Cartwright, "The Constitution of most of our states and of the United States assert that all power is inherent in the people, that they may exercise it by themselves, that it is their right and duty to be at all times armed." This belief is not just a relic of the past. It is a living, breathing principle that underpins our freedom. It is a call to vigilance, a reminder that the price of liberty is eternal vigilance. We must remain ever watchful, ever ready to defend our rights against any encroachment from within or without. The legacy of freedom handed down to us is a sacred trust, one we must safeguard with all our might. In conclusion, there is no part of the Constitution that gives the government at any level the power to regulate firearms. In fact, the Constitution forbids any regulation of firearms. Thankfully, we are now seeing a turnaround in government with the current bills before Congress and the Senate. While I don't think these bills go far enough, they are a step in the right direction. Any equipment or firearm the government can have for the standing army is constitutionally legal for the citizens to keep and bear. Arms means arms. Ultimately, we need a return to the founders' vision of a limited government that follows the Constitution. The Constitution gives a very limited list of powers for government. Nowhere in Article 1, Section 8 is the power to regulate firearms. Any and all gun control regulations or restrictions are unconstitutional. We have a duty as citizens to resist any unconstitutional law. Police officers also have a duty to resist any order to enforce an unconstitutional infringement. The time is now to stand up and make your voice heard. As American citizens, we must no longer stand by and let a corrupt government infringe on any of our rights. I will not respect or follow any unconstitutional law that infringes on my rights. Stay frosty, my friends. Keep your head down and your powder dry.